Greetings to you and welcome to this episode of G.R.A.C.E Podcast. I'm Timothy Muse. I'll be your host as we spend this time together today. It's a joy to be with you. I want to thank you for tuning in. I want to thank you for making this podcast a part of your day. And I want to thank you for being on the journey, for being here, for showing up, for doing this for you, for investing that time and energy in you. Good for you for being here. If this podcast is helpful, please share it out there. Put it out there in your social media feeds. I post on LinkedIn, X, Instagram, and Facebook. If you follow me or the podcast or the life coaching on any one of those feeds, you're going to get these episodes. So share them. Tag me in it. I'd love to see where you're at. If you're on one of the listening platforms, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or Amazon Music, follow us. Give us a rating and review. Every positive rating and review tells the platform people are listening, and you get notifications when a new episode comes out. And if you want to reach out to me directly, GRACELifeCoaching.com. That's where you can find me. That's my life coaching. That's what I've got. You can reach out to me. It's got all my contact information. You can set up an appointment if you want to contact me in any way. If I can help out, come alongside you. If you want to have some conversation, have some questions, maybe you just need a little direction. GRACELifeCoaching.com is the website. I truly would love to hear from you. GRACELifeCoaching.com. So we've kind of moved into this space about showing up and what it means to show up for you. We talked at the beginning of last episode about showing up. So I want to go a little deeper. I want to start talking a little bit more about how this works and some of the pitfalls and drawbacks, for what it means to show up, and we talked last time, that it's not motivation, it's not feeling, it's commitment. And today we're gonna dig a little deeper because there's something that stops most people before they even build consistency. And that's really it. It's not lack of desire. It's not lack of goals. It's this pattern that I want to touch on today. It's the starting strong and then stopping. Starting strong and then stopping over and over again. If you've ever said, this time I'm going to get serious, or I'm really going to stick with it this time, I'm really going to do it this time, or I just need to get back on track. I've said that. I need to get back on track. I need to get back on track with my eating. I need to get back on track with my exercise. This episode is where I want to go, because today we want to break that cycle. We want to break that cycle for good. We want to break that start-stop cycle. We want to break that cycle of starting strong and then stopping. And we want to build a cycle of starting and building consistency. Most people aren't bad at starting. That's not the issue. The fact is most people are great. New plan, new routine, new mindset. There's energy, there's excitement, there's momentum. Think about it. Think about that time in your life when you're like, I'm going to start a new eating program. I'm going to start eating healthy. You get rid of all the snacks and you get rid of all the bad stuff and you start cooking food and you're investing and you feel really good and you're really strong. And then all of a sudden, things start to fade. The problem isn't what happens when the start. The problem is what happens after the excitement fades, after this turns from this is my new me to this is my new normal. It always does. And when it does, most people interrupt that lack of excitement as failure. Now, we can see this in relationships, too. I think there's a very strong correlation between, this showing up for ourselves and showing up in relationships. New relationships are great. They're exciting. They're expressive. But then there's a shift because the relationship is unsustainable when it's exciting and expressive. The relationship is unsustainable. It moves into a different place. The same is true when we start new patterns. The same is true when we show up for ourselves. It's exciting. It's wonderful. But then that excitement fades. And that's where things get difficult. That's when most people interpret it as failure. They think, I lost my motivation. Maybe this isn't for me. Maybe the excitement isn't there, so it isn't for me. I just can't stay consistent. That's not the truth. The truth is you didn't fail. You just hit the part where discipline is required. You moved from emotion and motivation to discipline and momentum. And no one's prepared for that. We don't prepare for that moment. We don't prepare when the new and the flashy and the excitement becomes a little tarnished and a little bit difficult. But there's a pattern behind the starting and stopping cycle. It's called the all or nothing thinking. Okay? That's really where it stems from, the all or nothing thinking. It sounds something like this. If I'm going to do it, I'm going all in. Or I need to do this perfectly. If I miss a day, I've already messed up. That's the all or nothing thinking. All right. And we all have it. We all fall into that trap, that cycle of thinking, if I'm going to change my eating patterns, then I'm all in. I'm going to go clean. I'm going to go keto. I'm going to go, paleo, whatever decision is made. And I don't have any criticism, or I'm not trying to dog any one of those eating patterns. Eating patterns fit for people. So people go all in. And in the beginning, they go hard. They go hard. They just clean everything out. They go completely invested. But what happens is this: you overcommit, you do too much, you try to change everything at once. Okay. That's usually that all or nothing thinking, is that we're going to change everything at once. We're going to get rid of everything at once. And for a few days, maybe even a couple of weeks, it works. Okay. It works, but it's not sustainable. All right. It's not a sustainability. It's a sustainability issue, not a commitment issue. It's an overcommit. You overcommit and it's not sustainable. And eventually you miss a day. It's like, okay, I'm doing this great eating pattern and I'm eating clean until, oh, look, it's the office party, or, oh, look, I didn't get breakfast and somebody brought donuts, or what have you. So then the sustainability comes into question, and eventually you miss a day, or you fall short, or you get overwhelmed. Okay. And instead of adjusting the thought process, you stop. That's the all or nothing. If I can't do it all, I'm doing nothing. So instead of adjusting expectations and goals, you stop. Because in the all or nothing mindset, anything less than perfect feels like a failure. And that feeling of failure means I'm just going to quit. Not because you're incapable, but because your expectations are unrealistic. That's where that stems from. That start-stop cycle comes from the all or nothing mindset. That all or nothing, it's all in. It's, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it all. And if I can't do it all, then I'm a failure and I'm not going to do anything. And that's where most people are at when they're trying to make changes. Now, here's the thing. That start-stop routine, that all or nothing mindset, it's not just a behavior. It creates a habit. Okay? Every time you start and stop, you reinforce the habit of quitting. You reinforce the habit of giving up. Think about it. Think about that. You're not just building a habit of working out or writing or growing or eating right or whatever. You're also building a habit of stopping. Every time something gets hard, every time something loses its shininess, every time something becomes difficult, the habit of stopping kicks in. Oh, this is where I'm at. I remember the time before where I did X and I did it great for 2 weeks and I felt really good, and then I stopped. And there's the habit. Over time, that habit becomes part of your identity. If someone who starts something but doesn't finish, that's the mindset. That's the identity. I'm someone, I'm going to start things, I do things, but I don't finish them. Because you have the habit of stopping. Okay, that's that start-stop. So it's not just, I committed to something and I couldn't do it. No, you're building a habit of stopping. And anytime something becomes the slightest bit difficult or the slightest bit boring, I'm going to stop. And that's the habit. And that becomes your identity. I'm someone who starts things but doesn't finish. All right. So if that's your identity, if that's your thinking, then where's the draw? I'm not going to start something because I know I'm just not going to finish it. If the habit is stopping and that's my identity, then I'm not going to start something because I'll never finish it. I'll never follow through, whether it's writing poetry or working out or eating clean or whatever. But that's not who you are. That's just the pattern you've practiced. Remember, now we've talked a lot about changing patterns. When we're looking to change and grow, we have to change our patterns. So that's not who you are. That's just the pattern you practice. And patterns can change. We can change our patterns. That is one of the most powerful things about being human, is that we can change our patterns. We are allowed to do that. The place I work has a lot of property around us, and we have a lot of deer. Deer are great. I like seeing the deer. But when you look out on the property, there are spots. There are deer trails, okay? Well-worn trails. And when the deer, when they run, when they get spooked, they run to that trail. That's their pattern. And they go down that pattern over and over again, even if going to that pattern is detrimental to them. Even if there's something standing between them and the pattern, they'll go to that trail because that's how their brains are patterned to do. And we do that as well. We live into these patterns. But as humans, we can change our patterns, but only if we approach them differently. We have to approach the pattern differently if we're going to change it. Again, and a change is really difficult. Change takes a lot of energy, but we need to approach these patterns differently if we are going to change. If we are going to readdress, we have to approach patterns differently. All right. It's not about being a failure. It's not that you're a failure. It's just that the patterns you're living in are the start and stop, the all or nothing. So we want to change that pattern if we want to change how we show up for ourselves. That's great. What are some of the ways that we do that? Okay, let's get practical here. Let's talk about how this actually happens. How do we change our patterns so that we can break this all or nothing mindset and this start-stop cycle? So the first thing is we want to shrink the goal. All right, shrink the goal. Now, this sounds almost too simple, right? It sounds almost too simple. And that's the point. When we want to adhere to and we want to create sustainability, we want to start with things that we can be consistent with, that are sustainable. So shrink the goal. This is going to feel almost too simple, and that's good because that's the point. If your goals feel overwhelming, then they're too big. If your goals feel unsustainable, then they're too big. All right. If your long-term goal, let's go weight loss. If your long-term goal is to lose 50 pounds, that's a great long-term goal. But that's not a goal that you're going to be able to achieve in 30 days. So you want to shrink your goal. All right. Shrink your goal, because if it feels overwhelming, it's too big. And if it's too big, then you're going to wind up getting into that pattern of starting and stopping. So instead of 60 minutes of working out, I know I've talked about this before, do 10 minutes of working out, 10 minutes of moving your body. Okay. Maybe your ultimate goal is to get to 60 minutes, but 60 minutes has to be built to. You're not going to go from 0 to 60 overnight. You're going to go from 0 to 60 over time. So shrink your goal. Start with 10 minutes. If you want to write a book, all right, don't start with writing a chapter a day. Start with writing 3 sentences a day. And I mean, unless you're under contract and your publisher's requiring text by the end of the week, write small. Start small. Okay. Write 3 sentences. 3 sentences in a few days will turn to 5 sentences, will turn to 10 sentences, okay? Changing your whole routine, that's unsustainable. Change one habit. Change one habit. I want to get my house organized. So I'm going to start by making my bed every day. That's it. That's the habit, okay? Start small. Shrink your goals, because small actions create consistency. Consistency creates identity. You know what? I want to start showing up for myself. And I want to do one thing a day that shows that I'm showing up for myself. And that one thing is making my bed. Okay, that's it. 30 seconds. I'm going to make my bed. Well, then that creates consistency. Look, I committed to making my bed every day, and my bed's made every day. So now, as I make my bed, I'm also putting my socks away that have been piling up on the end table for a month. You create consistency. Consistency creates identity. My identity is not somebody who starts and stops, but my identity is someone who starts something and follows through. Now, do you make your bed every day? Maybe there are some days you're running behind or you forget. That's okay. Make it the next day. Don't keep quitting. Keep being consistent. Okay? Replace intensity with consistency. That's the next thing. Replace intensity with consistency. You don't need to go all in. You just need to stay in. That's what consistency is. So when we're looking at changing patterns, you don't need to go all in. You just need to stay in. All right? That's the difference. Anyone can go hard for a short period of time, but very few people can stay steady over time. So ask yourself, what can I do every day, even on my worst day? Making your bed. You can make your bed even on your worst day, right? That's your starting point. What can I do every day, even on my worst day? So maybe it's making your bed. Making your bed is something you can do every day, even on your worst day. And then stay consistent, because your brain is then building new patterns. Your brain is replacing that habit of stopping when it gets hard with, look, I can show up even when it's hard. So replace intensity with consistency. And build a restart ritual. This is critical. This is something that we don't really talk about because you'll mess up. You will. We all do. It's just a part of this busy, crazy, wonderful, chaotic life. You will mess up. You'll miss a day. You'll miss a day where you'll forget to make the bed, or you'll get drawn away. Hey, look, you woke up and the moment you were going to make the bed, the kids spilled cereal and milk all over the floor, or the phone rang, or whatever. You're going to mess up. You're going to miss a day. It's okay to mess up and miss a day. You're going to fall off at some point. That's not failure. That's reality. So instead of avoiding it, plan for it. So what is my restart ritual? So I'm going to stay consistent. I'm not going to stop. So what is my restart ritual? All right. And a restart ritual is simple. Acknowledge it. No excuses, no shame, just acknowledge it. Oh, look, I didn't make the bed today. Acknowledge it. You don't have to say, oh, yeah, it was so busy. No excuses, no need. You just didn't do it. It's okay. So acknowledge it. Then restart it immediately. Don't let the second day go by. 1 day is acceptable, 2 days is not. Okay, so restart immediately and continue like nothing happened. All right, continue like nothing happened. It happens. There's no reason to give any weight to it. Like, oh, I made my bed consistently for a month and then I forgot for a day. I'm such a failure. No, you just missed a day. Continue like nothing happened. All right, don't put emotion into it. Just restart and move on. Don't wait for Monday. Don't wait for the right time. Just restart. When we acknowledge, when we accept that we're going to miss a day, we don't have to emotionalize it. We can just restart. So just restart. No waiting, no hoping for Monday, no looking at, just restart. And the last thing I want to mention is detaching from perfectionism. Perfectionism is the death knell of getting out of the start-stop cycle. Okay? Here's the shift. And the shift is going to change everything. Instead of asking, can I stick with this? Start with, am I the kind of person who keeps going even when it's hard? Nobody's perfect. Nothing we do is perfect. Because the goal isn't just to complete a task. The goal is to become someone who doesn't stop. And when we hold on to that perfectionism, when we hold on to that perfection, then we aren't allowing ourselves the imperfect days, okay? And you don't need perfect days, my friends. You need consistent days. Even if the bed isn't made perfectly. I mean, unless you're in the military, and have to make your bed consistently to military specs. You don't need perfect days. You just need consistent days, all right? A 60% effort that you repeat daily is more powerful than a 100% effort that you can't sustain. So stop aiming for perfection. Start aiming for repeatability, something that is repeatable over and over, okay? You're a person who's creating a new identity, a new pattern. You're someone who can say, I am the kind of person that keeps going. I am the kind of person that can restart. Because the goal, like I said, isn't just to complete a task. The goal is to become someone who doesn't stop, someone who adapts, someone who restarts, someone who continues. That's what showing up looks like. Showing up for yourself isn't perfection. It is the ability to adapt and overcome when life gets in the way, because guess what? It's going to. It always does. And life doesn't care. Okay? We don't want to emotionalize life. We don't say, oh, life is hard today. No, it's just life. Life gets in the way. Life doesn't care. But you have to. And so that's where you learn to be adaptable. And you learn to reset. And you learn to continue, even when it's difficult. And if you remember, I was supposed to make the bed today, I didn't go make the bed, if you can. That's what showing up looks like. The goal isn't just to complete a task, my friends. The goal is to become someone who doesn't stop, who can keep moving forward. And those little things become bigger things. It grows exponentially. Remember, I've talked before about momentum. This is how you build momentum to showing up for you. It doesn't have to be all in big right away. It's small. Built over time. That's how you show up for you, a little bit over time. Keep pressing forward and build that consistency. So what's that one thing that you can add to your life? What's that one thing that you can break this thought, this all or nothing mindset, this start-stop cycle? What's one habit that you can start to show yourself that you show up? Do it. And you know what? If it doesn't happen tomorrow, then reset. Reset within 24 hours. No guilt, no overthinking, just action. Just keep going forward. Because the people who succeed are not the ones who never fall off. They're the ones who never stay off. So if you want to show up for you, then don't stay off. And if what you're hoping for is too big, then readjust. It's not a failure. It's just overreaching, underreach. Set those small goals and keep moving forward. You're not stuck. You're not broken. You're just repeating a pattern, that pattern of the habit of stopping. And you know how to change it. So keep showing up. Keep showing up for you. Keep showing up to break that habit of stopping and moving forward with consistency and hope. That's what I got for you for today, my friends. I hope it's helpful. If it is, please share it out there. Put it out there on your social media feeds. I post on LinkedIn, X, Instagram, and Facebook. If you follow me or the life coaching, you're going to see any one of these. You're going to see these episodes. Listening platforms, follow us, give us a rating and review. You'll get the new episode notifications. And if you want to reach out to me, GraceLifeCoaching.com is the website. At Grace Life Coaching, we want you to be the best you.